It's 2 a.m. An alert slices through the quiet hum of the data center. Successful login from an IP in a country your company has zero business with. This isn't a drill. It's not a lab. For a new security operations center analyst, this is where your career gets real. That single blinking alert is the first thread you have to pull. It's the start of an incident that will test your skills in log analysis, networking, and threat intelligence to their absolute limit. What you do in the next 5 minutes, 5 hours, and 5 days will decide if this is a minor hiccup or a catastrophic breach. And in 2026, the playbook has changed. Welcome to your first real test. Section 1. Log analysis, the superpower of detection. Almost every action on a network has the potential to leave a digital footprint, but you only see what you're configured to log. The first and most critical skill for any SOC analyst is reading these footprints. Think of yourself as a digital detective. Logs are your evidence. In our 2 a.m. scenario, the first clue is a Windows event log. Specifically, you'd be looking at event ID 4624, which means an account was successfully logged on. Now, the 4624 event itself doesn't tell you the user's location. The skill here is combining that log with other data, like your firewall or VPN logs, which show the login came from a high-risk country. As a beginner, you don't need to be a seasoned expert to know that a login from a strange country at 2 a.m. for a user who works 9 to 5 locally is deeply suspicious. Your job isn't to have all the answers right away, but to start asking the right questions. Is this expected? Is this authorized? You're looking for that break from the normal routine. But it gets deeper. As a junior analyst, you have to dig. You don't just see the login. You pivot to see what that account did next. Within minutes, another alert pops. Windows Event ID 4104. This is a PowerShell script block logging event, and it shows the account is running a script. Heads up, this type of detailed logging isn't always on by default, but when it is, it's a goldmine. The script seems to be downloading a file from a weird non-company URL. Now, the skill being tested is correlation. You have to connect the weird login, event 4624, to the shady script, event 4104. You've just gone from someone logged in from a weird place to a potentially compromised account is running unauthorized scripts to download unknown files. The severity just shot through the roof because you connected 2 dots. For the career changer coming from IT support, or as a sysadmin, you've got a secret weapon. Context. You might recognize that the compromised account isn't just any user, it's a service account. Service accounts should act like robots, running automated tasks. They shouldn't be used for interactive logins or to run PowerShell to download files from the internet. That's a huge red flag. Your past IT experience tells you not just what is happening, but why it's so incredibly wrong. Log analysis isn't just reading text. It's about understanding what that text means in your world. Networking knowledge. Understanding the battlefield. They have a foothold. Now they want a better, sneakier way to communicate and steal data. This is where the fight moves to the network, and where your networking knowledge is non-negotiable. If you don't get how data moves, you can't spot when it's moving with bad intentions. Back to our incident. That PowerShell script initiated some very strange traffic. For a beginner, this is where you need to know the basics, like DNS, the internet's phone book. You notice a weird spike in DNS queries from the machine, but they aren't for Google.com. They look like a 83HFG9SDKJ21 .maliciousdomain.com. That long random string is a strong indicator of DNS tunneling. The attacker might be encoding stolen data into those queries, using DNS as a covert channel to sneak it right past the firewall. A beginner's skill here is just knowing what normal DNS looks like, so you can spot the freakish stuff. A junior analyst, maybe someone studying for their SISA Plus, would take it a step further. You might run a packet capture with a tool like Wireshark to see the raw traffic. In that traffic, you see a connection being made to an internal server on an unusual port, 4444. Your training rings an alarm bell. Port 4444 is the classic default listener port for Metasploit's meter preter, a common tool attackers use to get a powerful remote shell. While it's not definitive proof attackers can use any port, it's a very strong clue. Your skill here is traffic analysis and recognizing the attacker's calling cards. You just found their command and control C2 channel. For the career changer from network engineering, this is your turf. The attacker, maybe getting nervous, tries to move laterally to a file server. You see a storm of connection attempts using the SMB protocol on port 445 from the compromised machine, all aimed at the finance server. You see a flood of access denied messages happening dozens of times a second. Your background screams that this isn't just a glitch. It's a brute force or password spraying attack. The attacker is trying to spread. Your understanding of network protocols lets you see their strategy and guess their next move. Get the money. SIEM Proficiency. The art of centralizing and correlating. So far, we have a suspicious login, a PowerShell script, and weird network traffic. In the real world, these could be 3 separate alerts in a sea of thousands. SOC analysts live in a state of alert fatigue. That's why getting good with the security information and event management SIEM platform, like Splunk, Microsoft Sentinel, or QRadar, is a total non-negotiable. The SIEM pulls all your logs and alerts into one place, so you can actually connect the dots. For the beginner, a SIEM dashboard can look like chaos. You see 500 failed login alerts. The key skill is triage. You have to use the SIEM's filters to cut through the noise. Are those 500 failed logins one person who forgot their password? Or is it 500 different IPs targeting one admin account? Simply filtering and grouping can be the difference between a user having a bad day and a credential stuffing attack. Your job is to find the signal in the noise. The junior analyst, though, needs to go beyond filtering. You need to build correlation rules. In our incident, a well-tuned SIEM might already connect these dots. A good rule could be, if a successful login, event 4624, comes from a high-risk country, and within 5 minutes on that same host, a PowerShell script, event 4104, runs, and that process starts making weird network connections, then creates a single, high-severity incident, and scream for attention. That's the magic of a SIEM. It turns 3 low-priority whispers into 1 high-confidence shout. Your skill with the SIEM turns you from a reactive alert clicker into a proactive incident manager. Now, if you're a career changer with a scripting or database background, this is where you become a superstar. Default SIEM rules are great, but they can't catch everything. You notice the attacker is trying to hide their malware in a temp folder, naming it something that looks legit, like svcoast.exe. A default rule might miss that, but you can write a custom query using something like Splunk's SPL or Sentinel's KQL that says, show me all processes running from C:, /Windows/temp that aren't digitally signed by Microsoft. That's a powerful custom detection they never saw coming. You're not just using the SIEM anymore. You're mastering it. Threat intelligence, knowing your enemy. You have a confirmed incident. You know how they got in and what they're doing. The next question is, who are they and what do they want? This is where threat intelligence comes in. It gives you context on your enemy, their tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs. It's the difference between fighting a shadow and facing an opponent with a known playbook. Back to our incident. The downloaded payload was identified as Cobalt Strike. To a beginner, Cobalt Strike might mean nothing. So, the skill is research. You do a quick search on the MITRE attack framework and learn that Cobalt Strike is a legit pen testing tool that has been hijacked by countless cybercrime and ransomware groups. Just by doing that, you've added critical context. This isn't some random hacker. You're likely dealing with a more organized threat. A junior analyst might have seen a recent threat report from CSA or Mandiant that a new ransomware group is using living off the land techniques, specifically using the built-in Windows tool certutil.exe to download malware because it's a trusted program. This technique has been known for years, but let's say this group has started using it again. Armed with that intel, you start proactively threat hunting. You don't wait for an alert. You dive into your SIEM and search for any time certutil.exe was used to download files from unknown sites. By hunting for the TTPs from the report, you might catch the attack before they even deploy their main payload. This is where a seasoned analyst connects all the dots. You've seen the initial access, the use of Cobalt Strike, and now you see PowerShell being used to disable Windows Defender. You take these TTPs and see if they match the known playbook of a particular group, like Black Cat or Keelan. Your threat intelligence platform might even suggest the link. The skill here is strategic pattern matching. You're no longer just reacting, you're recognizing the entire attack campaign. By identifying the type of threat actor, you can predict their next move. If the TTPs strongly point to a group known for data exfiltration before encryption, your priority instantly shifts to monitoring for large outbound data transfers, giving you a chance to stop the data theft before the ransomware hits. Incident response, drawing your line in the sand. Detection is pointless without a decisive response. The final core skill is incident response, IR. Once a breach is confirmed, every second matters. Your ability to follow a plan to contain, eradicate, and recover is what ultimately protects the organization. Our incident is at its peak. The attacker is trying to encrypt files. For a beginner, this is terrifying, but you have a playbook. The first step is always containment. Your immediate action is to isolate the compromised machine from the network. This could mean using your endpoint detection and response (EDR) tool to quarantine the host with one click, or even calling the help desk to disable the physical switch port. By cutting its connection, you stop the attacker from spreading. Your job is to follow the playbook and stop the bleeding fast. A junior analyst thinks beyond just the first machine. You've confirmed the malware. You need to contain the threat, but also start the eradication and evidence preservation process. You isolate the system, and you immediately trigger a password reset for that compromised service account. Critically, you also use your EDR tool to take a forensic snapshot of the machine's memory and disk. That snapshot is vital for the deep dive investigation to figure out exactly what the attacker did and what they stole. You're stopping the current attack and making sure you can fully investigate it later. For the senior analyst, the response gets more strategic. The attacker is already trying to spread using that SMB traffic we saw earlier. Isolating one host isn't enough. You make the call for a broader containment, blocking all inbound SMB traffic, port 445, at the firewall for that whole network segment. This is a bigger move with potential business impact, so it takes confidence. While that block is in place, you escalate to the senior IR team for forensics and eradication. Your skill is making strategic calls under pressure, balancing the need to stop the attack with the need to keep the business running. Finally, across all these stages, a critical skill for 2026 is AI skepticism. The initial alert might have come from an AI platform with high confidence. A 2026 analyst knows to verify. Is it a false positive from a sysadmin doing late-night work? Later, that same AI might recommend shutting down the entire server farm to contain the threat. But you, the human, have the business context. You know that would cause $1 million an hour outage. You override the AI and choose the surgical approach of blocking a specific port. AI is your most powerful partner, but the analyst is the essential human in the loop who provides the critical thinking, context, and sanity checks that AI lacks. This whole incident, from one log to a full-blown response, is what a SOC analyst trains for. So, how do you get these skills? First, build your foundation. For total beginners, start with the CompTIA Security Plus to learn the core ideas. If you have IT experience, aim for the CompTIA ISA Plus or the Microsoft SC200, which are more hands-on. The SC200 is fantastic if you want to work in a Microsoft-heavy shop, since it focuses on tools like Sentinel and Defender. Second, and this is the big one, get hands-on. Theory is not enough. Build a home lab. Set up a virtual network with a free SIEM. Check the latest licensing for Splunk Free or the Elastic Stack and an EDR agent. Then, safely attack yourself. Practice detecting and responding. Use platforms like TryHackMe, Hack the Box, and cyber defenders that have dedicated SOC analyst paths. Finally, document everything. Write a one-page incident report for each scenario you run in your lab. Detail the alerts, your investigation steps, and how you contain the threat. Post these on GitHub or LinkedIn. That becomes your portfolio. It's proof that you don't just know the theory, you can do the job. If you're building a home lab, drop a comment below and tell me what you're working on. And if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. These 5 skills, log analysis, networking, SIEM Proficiency, threat intelligence, and incident response, aren't just a checklist. They're the 5 chapters of nearly every incident you'll face. An anomalous log is meaningless if you don't understand the network traffic it creates. That traffic is just noise without a SIEM to correlate it. A correlated incident is a mystery without threat intelligence to give it context. And all that context is useless without a decisive plan to act on it. In 2027 and forward, the tools will be smarter, with AI handling much of the grunt work. But this doesn't replace you. It elevates you. Your job is becoming less about sifting through endless alerts and more about high-stakes decisions, threat hunting, and being the human sanity check on an automated system. The core mission of the Defender, that unique mix of curiosity, skepticism, and a relentless drive to protect, is more critical than ever. The alerts will always come. The only question is, will you be ready?